Hello and welcome to the Becoming Home podcast. I'm Jo.
I'm Charlene, and our goal is to create safe space for growth and healing using healthy conversations that bridge generational gaps. In this episode 1 of Newness, we're going to talk about limiting beliefs when we try something new. We touch on how emotions show up in our body in different places and how to deal with that.
We're going to talk about how scary it is to be vulnerable, especially when those emotions are showing up. You got a lot of chances for vulnerability and it's scary. We're going to talk about how to handle adversity. Things don't always go your way when you start something new. So we're going to talk about that as well.
Yeah, and in episode 2, we're going to get into identity, where we find our worth and our value and our worthiness. So lots of great stuff coming up. We hope you enjoy, and thanks for joining us in our brand new Becoming Home podcast. All right, let's jump in.
Whew.
So we're talking new stuff.
New stuff.
January, new year. We did this Facebook poll about, asking folks what is your deepest challenge or, what comes to mind when you're trying something new or starting something new for the first time. And there were tons of responses. It was really cool to see them. And it was really neat to see so many people sharing the same idea, the same space. It helps to know that, we're not alone, and there are so many similar thoughts, with each other. So I wanted to first get into talking about this idea of limiting beliefs and battling sort of this negative thinking, when we have something new that comes into mind. So I feel like we can use this podcast as a great example.
Yeah.
Starting this new venture and this new podcast, what did it bring up for you? Did you have any moments of negative beliefs or negative thinking or limited beliefs about, the whole project or the idea or, what came up for you in that way? And if you didn't, awesome. There was one person who commented, I love starting new things. And that's all she put. I was like,
that's not fair.
Awesome. Me too. And also it's
Share
terrifying.
the love, girl.
Yeah. So crazy. What about you? I know I had stuff like that. So I'll share a little bit of that later, but I wanted to give you a chance first to kind of kind of share maybe some of the things that are challenging for you.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I experienced my first initial thing when it comes to new things is those limiting beliefs. That's the very first thing, right out of the gate. I don't feel like there's ever a time that I don't experience that with a new thing. Just because my brain is just kind of programmed to think you just do the same thing every day. This is what you're good at. The full-time job that I do have, you've had this for 6 years. Why would you move on? You're successful, whatever. And for me to be so young, I'm early 20s, and thinking I can help other people. I can give other people my age or older successful, good life advice. That's a totally new idea. And I was sitting in this space of I'm so young, and I'm in a space of continual growth. I wouldn't say I'm healed. I wouldn't completely. I would say I've done a lot of work healing, but I don't feel like I'm all better in the sense of I still pay for therapy. I still have issues, and it's this idea of I don't have to be ready, and I don't have to be older than this person. I don't have to have a college degree. I don't have to be super duper qualified to run a podcast. And that was crazy, because all the people I hear doing podcasts are leadership professionals or pastors or all these people are, I've been doing this for 25 years. And I'm
I've written 3 best-selling novels.
Yeah, I'm ooh, I'm 21 and I work fast food.
Right.
I'm just a regular human.
Yeah.
Tell me about your fears. I'm so curious, just because I know you've grown up teaching, and that's just been what you do. So I'm really curious to hear how you experienced that.
Yeah, when I was like that girl who made the comment, I love to do new things. I was like that person when we were talking about doing it and in the planning stages, and we were renovating the room, and we're, doing all the prep stuff. I was just filled with excitement. And when that stuff started to slow down and we started to talk about, okay, should we create an LLC? Should we what's our first theme? How long do we want to record? How do we when we moved from the idea to the more concrete, getting ready, and we got closer and closer to this moment, this day, my body literally went through all of this up and down kind of so I do a lot of yoga, but I've gotten into yin yoga. So I've done hatha yoga for 8 years or something. But this past several months, I've started doing yin yoga, and you hold the poses for 3 to 5 minutes. And there were some poses that I was getting into that were hip openers, and all these emotions started coming up that were deep. They felt like waves, and I thought I was going to throw up sometimes. And I thought, where is this coming from? And I finally got to the point where I realized I am terrified to get this vulnerable. I am terrified of these conversations because on the one hand, I understand that, like you said, I don't, intellectually, I know, I don't have to be, I don't have to have a PhD. I don't have to, have written best-selling novels. I don't have to have arrived, right? I think some of our limiting beliefs are when we think I have to be a professional. I have to be already making money doing something similar, or I have to have all this wealth, all this, stuff to pass on that's in some field or some recognition from someone else. It's all this external stuff, right?
Yeah.
But for me, so on the one hand, I knew I didn't have to be all those things intellectually. But on the other hand, I do know that my gift, my calling of these deep conversations and being able to get in this zone where it's there's an opening up of me and this connection to divine and this journey that I've been on, that I feel like there's almost these downloads of wisdom that kind of come in those moments. And so I love, I am so passionate about conversation and about connecting with people through conversation and the vulnerability space.
Yeah.
I know that's where the magic happens, right? At the same time, I also know it requires me to enter into vulnerability at the same time. And there have been so many times in my life where I've been feeling vulnerable, and I look back, and in the moment it was terrifying. It's hard. It's scary. It's we get into the what ifs, what if this doesn't work out? What if that doesn't work out? I have all this fear energy, I guess, for lack of better, I want to be more specific than that. But, all these thoughts of fear and all these thoughts of you're going to fail, no one's going to listen, no one's going to care, no one wants to hear what you have to say, that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's battling those. For me, those were the things that were starting to become real, fear of, no one listening, or that we somehow our first episodes are really bad. And so the people who listen in the beginning are going to be well, that was dumb, and never share it with anyone. Right. Or, you know what I'm saying? So there was just all these limiting beliefs that started coming to the surface, but I first felt it in my body. I got depressed. I started feeling sick to my stomach all the time, all these waves of emotion. So yeah, it was a thing.
Wow.
I think I just kind of got stuck there for a minute. You probably noticed I got pretty quiet for a minute, and I just was that's kind of what I do. I kind of get quiet and I go inward, and I kind of do an internal wrestling thing until I can go to a space that I've learned something from this book, Boundaries for the Soul, where there's this core identity that is created perfect, that's the space where Holy Spirit is, and that's who you were created to be. And there's nothing lacking. There's nothing empty. There's nothing missing. That space is complete. And when I can notice all of the other stuff, all of the waves, all of the feelings, all the nausea, all the depression, when I can kind of make my way through that and then come back to this seat at the core that says everything is okay, everything's going to be fine. Like, that's the calming, that's the clear perspective. So when I can get in touch with that place, then I can start to provide some leadership to those limiting beliefs. I can provide comfort and almost like step into those places and ask like, okay, what's going on? You know, what are you really feeling? What are you really thinking? So yeah, I think dealing with limiting beliefs, like I think everybody does. I think everybody has, even if you love trying new things, because I also love trying new things. It's kind of the mantra of my life. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's do this. Let's do that. I've done so many new things in my life that I can almost think like it's, it almost works against you sometimes. Like, I don't know if you have ever experienced this, but when you try something new and you think this is the thing, and then after a while the thing goes away, you're like, maybe not.
Yeah.
Have you ever?
Oh, yeah.
Have you gone through that? Yeah, because it's like, okay, maybe that wasn't the thing. And so I feel like almost that the process of going through that and doing that, it almost, it can go two ways, right? Like you can think of it as I failed. That wasn't really the thing. I was wrong because I thought that was the thing that I was supposed to do or be doing. And now here I am. I don't want to do it anymore. So then we can like attach all these statements of like, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know who you are. You're fickle. You're indecisive.
Do you even know what you want in life? Like,
yeah. Tell me more about that, because being in your 20s and like a world of possibilities in front of you, I imagine, and I know you've been, just because I know you and what you've been doing, I know you've been on this journey of like trying to create something new and create a new way for you to go into the next phase of your life of, you know, looking forward to motherhood and wanting to stay at home with the kiddos, and, you know, that we pray God brings, you know. So like, do you have, I don't know, I'm trying to get to my real question, I guess. Like, what do you experience when you think, oh, maybe when you try something and then you change gears or shift directions or whatever? Like, have you done that yet, or do you feel like that's still something out in front?
I feel like I've been chasing a lot of like online business opportunities, and that's where a lot of those situations have happened where I'm like, this is it, and then I'll get into it. I'm like, ooh, that is not it. Like there's because I'm looking into it, of course all these ads are popping up on my social media because our phones are creepy. But like, one was about literally this mom who's advertising, I have this great online business, I get to stay home with my kiddos, this is great. And I touched base with her, and she is a lovely human being. Like, I still like have her contact information. I can reach back out anytime. And she's just lovely. But she's, I think she's selling like water filters. And they're like really expensive water filters. And she's like, I just make so much money doing this. I'm like, that's so great. I couldn't care less about a water filter. And well, I'm sure I could sell somebody a water filter, be like, do you even know what's in your water? Like, you know, I sell chicken for a living, so, you know, I can probably sell water filters. I know that's not what I can do as a mom, because I can't do something that burns me out. Because like my best has to be saved for my littles. And if they've got the leftovers of mom after work, that's not okay. Mom's got to do better. Mom's got to find something that's going to fuel her so she can get home, or just be home and be awesome mom who's got love left over for her littles. So for me, I was like, wow, water filters, that's not it. I touched base with an affiliate marketer online, and I was like, I'm just going this pretty slow, not going to have kids for a few years, whatever. I'm just going to work my way in a little bit. She's like, oh, so you're not serious. I was like, oh, yes, I am. And it was like, that was an identity crisis right in of itself. I was like, oh my gosh, she thinks I'm this terrible person who doesn't care, who's not serious, who's not wanting to even like chase these dreams. Like, it was that external validation that I was seeking. Someone who could be kind and patient with me, and she could not be. And she's on her own journey, which is great, and it obviously wasn't the right fit for us. But instead of thinking, hey, we're just probably not the right fit, I was like, oh my gosh, she thinks I'm terrible, this is the worst thing in the world. And I just got stuck in this idea of like, oh no, am I supposed to be like really, really aggressive, and I'm just not. Like, I was scared that I was never gonna find something that was gonna go my pace, that was going to allow me to work a very demanding job. I do a lot, and I commit a lot of my time to my job. And so to have more time committed to another source of income or another sort of job that may or may not be successful is overwhelming in many senses, just because it's like, whoa, it's a lot of my time. But to be able to step back post experience and be like, oh, we just weren't the right fit. And that wasn't supposed to be where I was going to go. Because like even now I'm standing on the precipice of a new opportunity and a new like online, not even online, but a new business opportunity. And I'm still scared to make the jump because it's new and it's crazy. But I've never felt anything that felt that right in those moments. Every time I went in, I was like, oh, this is great. And then I sat in the seat of, what if I actually did this? And I was like, I'm wilting. But
how did you make that shift from, you said that negative experience with the affiliate marketer, and you kind of went to these places of like identity crisis. And I love that you noticed it took you a minute, but you did notice like, okay, that's external. We're just not a right fit. Like, how did you make that shift from, oh, she thinks I'm this, and kind of getting caught up in what someone else thinks, to moving into a place of peace and calm, like, oh, okay, we're just not the right fit. Like, how did you make that move? How did you make that shift? Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Becoming Home podcast, where we're helping bridge generational gaps through healthy, healing conversations. Hey, Joe, where can folks go to connect with you?
Go ahead and head over to my Instagram page. You can find me at Committing to Change. That would be at committing_2_change. And you can DM me. We can have a conversation, or you can just follow along on my journey. How about you, Mom?
Yeah, if people want to connect with me, you can get to me through my website, fullyabundantlife.com. Looking forward to seeing you all there. Let me know how we can serve you. If you have any questions about anything in any of our episodes, we're happy to reach out to you and spend some time talking and chatting. So head on over to fullyabundantlife.com for me, or Instagram for Joe. Thanks so much for being here. We can't wait to see you next time.